Sarah's story, a journey through love, change, and rediscovery. My name is Sarah, and this is a story I never thought I would tell. But some stories are too extraordinary to keep to oneself, and perhaps within these words, there lies a lesson, one that might resonate with someone else. So here it goes. Joshua and I met in college, two young souls drawn together by a shared sense of adventure and an effortless connection. From the very beginning, we were inseparable. He had this way of making me laugh even on my worst days, and I, in turn, knew his heart better than he did himself. We weren't just lovers. We were best friends, confidants, and partners in every sense of the word. For nearly a decade, our love flourished. We were the couple others admired, the ones who finished each other's sentences, the ones who could sit in comfortable silence without feeling the need to fill it with words. Our early years together felt like a fairy tale, where every glance carried meaning, every touch ignited sparks, and every moment felt like an adventure waiting to unfold. But life, as it often does, had a way of shifting the tides. Between raising two children and juggling careers, responsibilities piled up like unspoken words between us. The passionate spontaneity of our love began to fade into structured routines. The candlelit dinners turned into hurried meals over the kitchen counter. The deep, heartfelt conversations that once kept us awake until dawn became simple exchanges of daily logistics. We still loved each other. Of that I was certain, but there was an undeniable void, a dull ache where the excitement used to be. I noticed the change in subtle ways. The way Joshua's laughter no longer reached his eyes. The way we both reached for our phones in bed instead of for each other. The way silence, once comfortable, now felt heavy with things unsaid. And yet we continued on, day after day, as if ignoring the problem might make it disappear. Then one evening, everything shifted. It was a quiet night, just the two of us at the dinner table. The kids were asleep, the house was calm, and the clinking of silverware against porcelain was the only sound filling the room. I could sense Joshua's hesitation, the way he swirled his wine absently, lost in thought. And then finally he spoke. "I feel like we're not connecting the way we used to," he admitted, his voice soft yet resolute. His words lingered in the air, heavy with unspoken emotions. I set my fork down, meeting his gaze with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. "What do you mean?" He sighed, choosing his words carefully. "I'm not talking about anything drastic. I just think maybe we need something new in our lives. Something to shake things up. I feel like we're stuck in a loop, going through the motions but not really living." A part of me bristled at the suggestion, but another part, the part that had been yearning for change, leaned in. "What are you suggesting?" He hesitated before continuing. "I think we should bring some new people into our social circle. Just friends, people to talk to, laugh with. Maybe it would help bring some excitement back into our lives." I studied him for a moment, searching for any hint of something unspoken beneath his words. Was this his way of saying he was unhappy? That he wanted more than what we had become? Or was this truly just an innocent suggestion, a way to rekindle something we had lost? At first, I wasn't sure what to think, but after a moment of contemplation, I nodded. All right, it might be nice to mix things up. Neither of us had any idea just how much things were about to change. A week after our conversation, Joshua and I attended a party hosted by one of his close friends. It was meant to be a casual gathering, a chance to unwind and socialize. What I didn't expect was the introduction of 3 new people. 3 men Joshua had recently met: Thomas, Aaron, and Isaiah. Thomas had an infectious energy that could light up any room. A die-hard basketball fan, he could discuss the game for hours. His passion so intense that even those uninterested in sports found themselves drawn into his animated discussions. Then there was Aaron, the tech-savvy innovator, always up to date with the latest gadgets, trends, and breakthroughs. He had a way of making even the most complex topics sound fascinating, his excitement contagious. And finally, Isaiah. Undeniably the most intriguing of the three. He was different, in a way that was difficult to pinpoint. He carried himself with a quiet confidence, his presence soothing yet captivating. His humor was subtle but perfectly timed, his words carrying a weight of wisdom that made people lean in, wanting to hear more. At first, I kept my distance, observing from the periphery. But as the night unfolded, I found myself drawn to them, engaged in conversation in a way I hadn't been in a long time. They were charming, easy to talk to, and most surprisingly, they noticed me, not in a way that was overt or inappropriate, but in a way that made me feel seen. They laughed at my jokes, made thoughtful comments, and listened, really listened, to what I had to say. There were moments when I caught their gazes lingering just a little too long, their smiles carrying an extra warmth that sent an unfamiliar thrill through me. It was exhilarating, yet unsettling. As the evening wound down and Joshua and I made our way home, a quiet tension settled between us. I assumed he hadn't noticed anything out of the ordinary. After all, it had been a harmless night of fun. But as soon as we stepped inside, he turned to me, his expression unreadable. "I noticed how well you got along with them," he said, his voice calm yet probing. "Do you think you have a special connection with any of them?" I blinked, caught off guard. "Of course not," I said with a small laugh, brushing off the question. "They're just fun to be around." Joshua didn't look convinced. He studied me for a moment before continuing, his words deliberate. "I mean, maybe a little harmless flirtation isn't a bad thing. Maybe it could even help us." I froze, my mind racing. Help us? What exactly was he suggesting? And why did his words stir something within me? Something I wasn't sure I wanted to acknowledge. Over the next few weeks, Joshua and I fell into an easy rhythm with our new friends. Our gatherings became more frequent, and with each passing day, I noticed subtle but undeniable changes in both of us. Joshua, who had always been somewhat reserved, seemed to come alive in their presence. His laughter was fuller, his energy more vibrant, and his willingness to engage with others felt effortless. Strangely enough, I found myself mirroring his transformation. The loneliness that had once felt like an unshakable weight began to dissolve, replaced by a growing sense of connection. One evening, we decided to host a small get-together at our house. It was nothing elaborate, just a casual evening of drinks, shared stories, and easy conversation. Thomas brought a selection of craft beers. Aaron arrived with his signature homemade nachos, and Isaiah, ever the life of the party, carried in a speaker already playing a soft, jazzy melody. The atmosphere was warm, intimate, and refreshingly unforced. As the night progressed, I found myself lost in conversation with Thomas, Aaron, and Isaiah. We swapped childhood stories, laughed over embarrassing moments, and reminisced about the reckless adventures of our younger years. The way our voices overlapped, punctuated by bursts of laughter, made it feel as if we had known each other for a lifetime, rather than just a handful of weeks. Then, amidst the camaraderie, Aaron's voice cut through the moment with a playful remark. "I can't believe a woman like you is even real." At first I laughed, assuming it was nothing more than casual flattery. Yet, as I stole a glance at Joshua, expecting some sign of discomfort or disapproval, I found something entirely different. He wasn't annoyed, nor was he possessive. Instead, he simply nodded, as if he understood something unspoken, something that I wasn't yet fully aware of myself. That moment lingered in my mind long after the last guest had left, and the house had fallen silent. As I lay in bed beside Joshua, listening to the steady rhythm of his breathing, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted. I wasn't sure what it meant yet, but one thing was certain: the experiment had begun. As the weeks passed, Joshua began encouraging me to spend more time with the guys. At first, I thought it was just his way of shaking things up, injecting some excitement into our routine. But the more it happened, the more I questioned his motives. Was he trying to test something between us? Or was there a part of him that wanted to push me into unfamiliar territory for reasons he couldn't admit? One evening, we all gathered at Matt's apartment, a casual get-together filled with laughter and inside jokes. The energy was light, effortless. We started a game, something innocent at first. It was the kind of game where dares became bolder as the night stretched on, where personal boundaries blurred under the haze of shared glances and teasing remarks. But then something shifted. I caught the way the guys looked at me, not just as a friend but as something more. Their compliments became less casual, their touches more lingering. A playful challenge turned into something heavier, the air thick with an unspoken understanding. My pulse quickened, not from excitement but from uncertainty. I wasn't sure if I was reading too much into it, but the way their eyes lingered on me made me feel like a piece of something being observed, anticipated. Joshua was watching too. I expected him to step in, to shift the tone back to its light-hearted nature. But instead, there was a flicker of something in his gaze. Satisfaction? Curiosity? Possession? I couldn't tell, and that terrified me more than anything. Finally, as if sensing my discomfort, he changed the subject, diverting the attention elsewhere. The moment passed, but the tension in my chest remained. Later that night, when we were alone, I confronted him. "What are we doing, Joshua?" I asked, my voice steady but laced with unease. "Is this really about us, or is it about something else?" He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck, as if trying to find the right words. I like seeing you happy," he admitted. "I like seeing you noticed. And maybe I like the idea of you being admired." His words landed heavily between us. My breath caught in my throat, the implications of what he was saying swirling in my mind. Was this some kind of test? A game? Or was it something deeper, something neither of us fully understood yet? I wanted to press him for more, to force him to say the things he wasn't saying. But instead, we stood in silence, the weight of unspoken truths hanging between us like a delicate thread, waiting to snap. Everything came to a head at a backyard barbecue we hosted. The air was thick with the scent of grilled food, laughter echoed across the yard, and the warm glow of string lights cast a golden hue over familiar faces. It was the kind of evening that felt effortless. Yet beneath the surface, I carried the weight of questions I hadn't dared to voice aloud. As the night stretched on, I found myself gravitating toward a quiet corner with Thomas, Aaron, and Isaiah. We sat beneath the vast starlit sky, our drinks in hand, as conversation drifted from casual banter to something deeper. We spoke of dreams, those we had chased, and those we had let go. We spoke of love, its unpredictability, its challenges, its quiet triumphs. And then we spoke of trust. It was Thomas who broke through the noise of my thoughts with a single sentence that struck me to my core. "You and Joshua have something special." Aaron nodded in agreement, his expression sincere. "Not many couples have this kind of trust." Isaiah, ever the quiet observer, added with certainty, "Hold on to that." Their words resonated within me like ripples across a still pond. I had spent so much time analyzing, questioning, and searching that I had overlooked what had been in front of me all along. I suddenly saw things clearly. Joshua wasn't looking for excitement or novelty. He was searching for reassurance. He wanted proof that he was still enough for me. And the truth was, I had been looking for the same thing. That night, as we lay in bed, the glow of the city faintly illuminating the room, I turned to Joshua and told him everything. I told him about the moments of doubt, the fleeting distractions, the way my happiness had frightened me because it felt unfamiliar. But most of all, I told him the truth, that my joy hadn't come from anything external. It had come from the way we had begun to open up to each other again, in a way we hadn't in years. He listened, his eyes searching mine, absorbing every word. And when I finished, he let out a long breath, running a hand through his hair as he spoke, his voice hesitant but honest. I like seeing you happy. I like seeing you noticed. And maybe I like the idea of you being admired. His confession caught me off guard, leaving me momentarily speechless. But as I looked at him, really looked at him, I saw the vulnerability in his gaze, the same unspoken fears and hopes that mirrored my own. And so we made a decision. No more experiments. No more searching for something outside of us. Instead, we would rebuild, brick by brick, moment by moment together. Because in the end, it wasn't about finding something new. It was about rediscovering what had been there all along. It wasn't easy. The road back to each other was filled with doubts, unspoken fears, and the echoes of past mistakes. We had to confront our insecurities, the ones that made us question whether we were enough, whether we deserved this love, whether we could truly heal from the wounds we had unintentionally inflicted on each other. But love, real love, isn't about perfection. It's not about never stumbling or never hurting. It's about the willingness to mend what is broken, to listen when it's hard, and to fight for something worth saving. With time, patience, and honesty, we peeled back the layers of misunderstanding and rediscovered the very essence of what had drawn us together in the first place. The laughter, the quiet moments of understanding, the unshakable feeling that, despite everything, we belonged. Love isn't about seeking validation from others. It isn't about grand gestures or perfect fairy tales. It's about showing up, even when it's messy. It's about choosing each other, not just in the good times, but in the moments of doubt, in the moments when walking away might seem easier. And that's exactly what we did. We chose each other. Every single day. And we always will. Let me know if you'd like any adjustments.